Chopper.
Right there. R.I.P. I feel bad for you. I'll pray for you.
We're getting around 150.
I don't even. I just want to hang it on my neck.
That bike was a lemon.
They paid $4,000 for those bags because they look sick.
People didn't really talk about cams like in the Harley world that much until the M8.
You're leaving horsepower on the table.
So Matt decided to switch out his air intake, right?
Yeah.
It's the first one in the world. I don't even know if anybody's done it yet. So we went with this bad boy.
I think we've got a new upgrade here that we haven't seen.
We could have
know.
got this done in gold.
There you go.
Through the gut. See you later.
He just went to like a sketchy doctor.
Put an oil pump
Yep.
in your M8.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Dan's working late again and let us come by and film some more. And in the last vlog you saw, Matt was upgrading the heads, so he obviously needed a bunch of new parts for that, right?
So we're gonna go over them. They just came in, so Dan's pulling them down so you can check it out.
Well, I'm not going to pull the head down
Yeah,
because we've seen the heads.
So
right?
yes.
We saw the heads.
Saw those.
Yeah.
That's what's in that box, is the heads. And she's heavy, so
Yeah.
we're going to leave her alone. Rear rotor, right? Brembo caliper. This is going to be underslung.
It comes with pads on it, huh?
Oh yeah, but they come with Brembo pads.
Yeah, we're switching them to Lindor.
Yeah, they're not the greatest.
Yeah.
We're going to switch them to...
Oh, yes. Interesting how they're like that.
Yeah, they have no bolts, nothing. They literally snap in and snap out. We're switching them to these Lindor bad boys. That's the underslung caliper from TTI. So that'll allow the caliper to be underslung. Oh look, another switch that doesn't exist. New cam,
Oh, yeah, there it is.
bigger build. So we're going with a 592.
That's gonna be one hell of a cam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're excited
to
about
put
it.
it
It's
into
the one you've been dreaming about.
I can't wait for this.
So
cam.
to put it into perspective, the biggest camshaft you can go on an M8 without making valve train changes is a 475.
I think that's what I have.
That's the
what I
SNS
put up.
version, but I think
do
Fueling
470.
has like a 473.
472, I think.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
both.
they're all within
Either of
I
them
think
have
you-
something. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he has the 472.
Yeah.
It's a good cam.
it's great. They're
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Same shit, different pile, as they say. but-
SNS is 475.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Nonsense. But that's the biggest you can go without changing your valve springs and all that good stuff, right? Because valve rate won't work.
Yeah.
So we're going 592 because now you're going with the race heads and
Yeah.
it's decked out beehive valve springs. We're gonna actually
Yeah.
repurpose. I don't think we're gonna use the valve springs that are in that. I think we're gonna switch to the beehive valve springs that we did put in your heads last time.
Yeah, I remember.
Right.
So
I remember that.
So I'm gonna see which one's a higher tolerance, whichever one's better suited for this camshaft lift rate wise, we're gonna use. I'll check that when the time comes.
Can't wait for that cam.
Bigger injectors.
Those are the 6.1s, right?
These are these 6.1s.
Yeah.
So just show the people at home so they can get an idea of what that means. For the record, the reason we don't try and use bigger injectors unless we absolutely have to is because spray pattern affects drivability. Now, a lot of mechanics might tell you about injectors, but unless they actually tune themselves, not me being a mechanic and another guy in my shop being a tuner, not that, not even that. Not a shop that doesn't tune themselves in-house. I'm talking about me being a mechanic and a tuner. So
Right.
I can explain a little more and why it matters. So you see this pattern? If you look in, can you see right in the center? Not sure if the camera can see really good.
All the little dots in
See,
there.
yeah, all the little spray holes. A stock injector might have a ton more holes. Every injector is different. Different brands do different patterns. But to give you an example, a stock injector might be have tiny little holes, but 10 times the amount, or 15 holes. And then all of a sudden you go with a bigger injector, and instead of getting 15 little holes, you might get 10 bigger holes. Then you go even bigger, you might get a bigger injector, and all of a sudden you're getting 8 even bigger holes, and so forth, right? So to give you an example, this one has 6 holes. If we went even bigger, you might get 4 big holes. Like it depends on which injector, which brand you use, but ultimately the bigger injector you go, spray pattern changes and also diameter of the outlet orifice of that injector, which means it affects the spray pattern. So picture your shower head. Your shower head has a shitload of little holes, and all of a sudden it's spraying out nice. Then you turn that little dial if you have one of those ones, and all of a sudden you're getting 3 holes and it's blasting you hard with the water. It's the same concept with the fuel. So for rideability, tuning, smoothness, all that jazz, you don't want to go less holes and bigger holes unless you have to. That's why we didn't in yours. Well, originally we did, and then we changed it back when we realized we didn't need that much fueling, and that made the bike way more rideable, smooth, easy to tune, easy to start, just
100%.
For sure.
100%. It made it easier to
Right,
start up.
right.
Easier
Now
to
we're-
ride.
Everything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going backwards, but forwards.
Yeah.
Because we're going with the bigger motor. We have no choice but to go bigger injectors, because a rule of thumb is you don't want to exceed 80% of the injector's duty cycle. So if the injector is rated for X power or X fuel, and you see the duty cycle while you're tuning, like a tuner would see that, if the duty cycle is exceeding 80% or even near 80%, like I personally don't even want to see over 70. The rule of thumb is over 80% of the duty cycle of that injector, you got to change them. Because you don't want to be running the injector stretched thin. You don't want to run the injector at 100% capacity, because that's when you could have failures and lean states that cause detonations, blown motors, all sorts of jazz, right? We're going bigger because your stock injectors with what you had, it was running about 65%, which is on the threshold of where I like to see for no problems, which you had no problems.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, instead of running those injectors at 100%, we're going with these puppies, and we should be sitting back at 50%, 60%, which is amazing.
Does it make it harder to tune with those injectors?
It does.
Yeah.
So a lot of tuners will try and sound cool or, magical, so they won't tell you that it does, but it does. So obviously, the stocker the bike, the easier to tune. The more done, the worse to tune, and so forth and so forth.
Right. Would it affect the mileage?
Not necessarily, because we're still going to target the same air-fuel ratio that we like to see.
Right.
So regardless of how much fuel this is dumping, it just by putting a bigger injector, it's not going to dump more fuel.
Right.
Because I'm still going to negate the size of the injector by tuning it to do what I want it to do.
Which is why it can theoretically be a little bit more difficult having these injectors.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly. But at the same time, a lot of guys that don't know tuning, or there's a lot of people thinking you don't need tuning's not that big of a deal, or trying it themselves, all that nonsense. They think, well, I put a bigger injector and the bike will run. It doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. The bigger injector is just for safety, that allows you to give it more fuel safely, and then you still got to tune to the parameters and air fuel ratio you want, right?
Right.
The tuner wants to see it.
Right.
And we all have our own target air fuel preferences. We all have our own little styles. We like to do tricks, black magic, tricks of the trade. Like we all have.
Yeah,
those
you've called
little
it
things.
that before.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah,
we all keep it to ourselves for obvious reasons. But yeah, man, that's Injector 101.
Tuning 100% matters. I brought a bike to you, an old bike I had. This is some years ago. Could not figure out what was wrong with it. You hooked it up to the dyno, and then it ran fine. You just figured it out. It just needed to be tuned properly. But before that, I couldn't get that thing running properly. I just don't remember what it was exactly at this point. But it just, you hooked it up to it was my old dyno.
Oh yeah.
But
That bike was a lemon.
it was. But you know what? I swear to God, it tuned it and it ran fine after that.
That bike was
before that, it was pretty rough.
Tuning is everything, man. You can build big motors. If you don't tune it, it's garbage. Man, I've had guys that bring me from other shops and other places. They build motors, and then the guy's riding it for a year, and they're like, "Oh, the guy gave me a preloaded tune. I just want to see if I can get any more power." We'll tune it, and he'll make 15 horsepower. And I'll be like, "Dude, you've been driving around like this build. Oh, what do you have? Oh, 110 Screaming Eagle heads. Oh, what do you? Oh, 45, well, and you're only making 100 horsepower?" And then I'll tune it and get him 120 or 118 or whatever. And he was like, "Dude, you rode for a year and a half with, what were you doing?" Well, my tuner, my mechanic said, he gave me a map from the internet, and from, I sent my thing to some website, and they sent me this map. I'm just like, oh, dude. Like, if you're going to build any bike, even if you put a cam, get the bike tuned. Stock bikes, if you're not going to do nothing to your bike, tune it anyway. And I'll tell you why. Every single bike, specifically, I'll tell you on Harleys more so, because we're in the Harley game at the moment. Every single bike runs a certain air fuel ratio, right? That's what a tune is doing. You're targeting a different air fuel ratio. Factory bikes, if you ever wonder why your Harley runs hot as balls from factory, if you ever wonder why your Harley doesn't seem to drink much gas, you ever wonder why your crotch is burning because the rear cylinder is literally on fire, you ever wonder why you get off the throttle and you hear a lot of decel pop, all that stuff? That's because from factory, these bikes target 14.7 air fuel. That I'll say because no one tunes to that. They target 14.7 air fuel ratio, which I've had my license for decades now, so I don't remember, but I'm positive that that's stoic, which is what they call that air fuel ratio. Supposedly that's the perfect burn rate, but no motor ever runs great with that air fuel ratio. They just don't, which is why Harleys And most bikes, honestly, every bike basically, because we tune every brand and we always see it, they target 14:7 air fuel ratio, especially in the low area, which on the new Harleys and on a lot of these new Jap bikes and Ducatis and stuff and BMWs, they're called closed looped because you're not allowed to edit them. You can't edit them. I mean, we can.
Yeah.
And any skilled tuner can, but most places cannot. And if you're not a good tuner, you can't do it either.
And that's why too, not to interrupt, but when you go, if you wanted your bike tuned at Harley,
Yeah.
it's not going to be like coming to a place like this
No,
and tuning it, right?
no. So there's a few things. First off, most Harley dealers do not have dynos. All they do is use their Screaming Eagle tuners, those pieces of garbage, and some tech clicks a button and picks a map from a database and says, oh, perfect. Oh, whatever air filter, whatever pipes, here you go. And, oh, this is close enough. Send you out the door. That being said, always a dyno tune is the best way. Then on top of that, not every tuner is good. Just because they have a dyno doesn't make them good. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. I've had my dyno 15 years or more. In the beginning of my tuning life, DynoJet and whoever has your dyno, they don't teach you how to tune. They don't teach you how to be a mechanic. They teach you how to use the equipment, how to use the dyno, start, stop, record, whatever. But they don't teach you the tricks that you need to learn by experience. When I started tuning, I was taking 5 hours to tune a bike.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, a few years in, 4 hours. A few more years, 3 hours. A few more years, 2 hours.
It's like
a few more
trial
years,
and
an
error,
hour.
yeah.
And you're learning tricks. What works, what doesn't work. So just taking your bike to your local dyno doesn't mean you're going to get the best bang for your buck. You need to research the tuner. What has that person accomplished? What bikes has that person tuned that set records? Has it been to the Maxton Mile? Find out how educated that tuner is. Pick the right tuner, and that's when you get your money's worth. Because if you build a motor for 10 grand and then you don't go to even if you don't, A, if you don't tune it, you're screwed. B, if you go to a tuner that's not top of the line, you're leaving horsepower on the table.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody spending 10 grand, 8 grand, 5 grand to leave horsepower on the table.
Yeah. That's not why I'm doing this right now.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. There's no point in doing it otherwise,
No. So to give you an example, in my shop, I specialize in tuning. None of my other techs tune. No one here tunes. They understand because we talk and brainstorm and go back and forth and we throw bits of information at each other, but I specialize in tuning.
Yeah.
Right? So in our building, we tune an average of 3 to 4 bikes per day. Give you an idea of the experience that goes along with the trial and error. Today I tuned a CBR 650 in the morning, a Sportster around noon, and 2 BMWs in the afternoon.
Right. Which are wild BMWs.
195 to 210, 215.
That's
I've seen
crazy.
on them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like with bolt-ons. That's unreal, man.
It's
But you know what?
It's part of
At
the fun
least
of it.
we're in the M8 world now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's power to be made.
Yeah,
It's not like the
100%.
twin cam days for all you old boys still running twin cams. I mean, R.I.P. I feel bad for you. I'll pray for you because you're pulling teeth.
It's a lot easier with M8s, right?
Oh, you do a cam on an M8, you're making 30 horse.
Yeah,
Cam
it's
and a
crazy.
tune, bam, snap.
Yeah, it's
you
crazy.
do a twin cam, you do the same deal. Cams, this, that, tune. You're lucky to see 10 horsepower.
People didn't really talk about cams like in the Harley world that much until
The
the
M8.
M8. And then the first thing everybody talks about when they're getting a bike is what cam are they putting in.
And
it just becomes the next step of when you get your bike.
But it became the norm because of the amount of power on the table, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like I said, twin cam, Sportsters, do a cam and a tune, air filter, pipe, get 10 horsepower. Who was spending? Nobody was spending 6 grand to get 10 horsepower. But on the M8, it's like, hey man, got a new bike, stock 114. Throw it on the dyno, see what it makes. You got 81.
I was gonna say they make 80 something, right? Like
You got 80
to the wheel.
Yeah, you get 81 to the wheel. You get 81-ish to the wheel.
Yeah.
81 horsepower, man. Like, congratulations. Like, you're basically riding a tuned 103.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a
Good
sudden,
call,
you
good
yeah.
call.
And then all of a sudden, you do a cam, a single cam, which are what, less than $400
Yeah,
now?
that's the thing. Cams are affordable now.
Cam,
Or they
less than
are,
$400. The SNS one comes with the install kit. So it comes with the bearings and the gaskets. You do adjustable push rods because that you can cut away. That's all you got to do your cam.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows put a damn oil pump in your M8. Put an oil pump in your M8, and all of a sudden you're making 110.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, 80 to 110, 30
huge.
horsepower.
It's a huge difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
We're living in good times.
Yeah.
We're gonna tune for reliability.
Yes.
So you're not gonna be screaming horsepower. We're not gonna do STD and DIN dyno graphs to look like we have big horsepower. We're not
is that the one where you
that's what the tuners do? Yeah.
Switch it, or I don't know. Again, I don't know it at all, but you switch something and it gives you bigger numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're not gonna turn the correction factor to 0 to get more numbers.
Yeah.
We don't have some old ass dyno that throws huge horsepower numbers.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nonsense a lot of these guys do, and uncalibrated dynos that show massive numbers. Like, we're not gonna do none of that nonsense. We're gonna give you guys the truth, the real power.
And man, if we're getting around 150 and it's reliable,
You're definitely getting that. You're definitely getting it.
Yeah.
But let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right. This is the new fueling air intake.
So Matt decided to switch out his air intake, right?
Yeah. So Dan and I talked briefly whether I should maybe switch it or not, and we ultimately went with yes, I should switch it. I like the look of my teardrop intake, but
The SNS teardrop intake, they're sick. Don't get me wrong. If you pan the camera, this custom chopper we built, which by the way was the first M8 and still is the first M8 custom chopper in the world.
which is carbureted now.
We
right?
converted it to carbureted.
Yeah.
It's the first one in the world. I don't even know if anybody's done it yet. Some company in Germany did some bootleg ones where they took two soft tails and just chopped the necks in the back, but left. Well, this frame is built from scratch.
That's why.
This is a real custom chopper. Anyway, so you see, we like the SNS intakes. So, SNS, anybody, if you guys are watching from SNS, we love you. But when you're after a big horsepower, there's not enough air going in that intake, right? So if you look at yours was the same, less the screens, essentially.
Yeah, the kind of
It's-
classic teardrop look.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
sucks in a bit of air from the back, and they have an upgraded thing with holes and backing plate. But realistically, the more air the bike gets, the more fuel we can give it. More fuel it can consume, more power it'll make, in a nutshell. So we went with this bad boy. So there she is.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh, it's beauty.
That looks
Yeah.
sick.
And seeing this in person too, like
It's clean.
yeah, it just looks so good.
It's clean.
Yeah.
So they have this with a clear glass that almost looks like the Trask
Yep.
version. We opted to go with the flat one because we're going to hold Matt to this for everybody watching. He is going to get a custom engravement done that says something along the lines of Indestructible.
We'll put something on it there.
We're going to hold him to it and not a sticker. Engraving.
Thanks, Dan.
No, you're welcome. I'm looking out for your best interest. No stickers.
Yeah, no, definitely no stickers. We'll get something.
Problem solved. No.
Show up one day with that on there.
No. The reason we changed intakes, before I skip too far ahead, and you know what's pretty sick too?
It comes with a little machined. Or is that what it is?
It's got a velocity stack in there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's got a nut. You can't see it on camera, and it's assembled, so I can't show you guys. But you see the silver ring.
Yeah.
It's a full-on spooned velocity stack.
I was gonna say it's kind of like concave in the center.
Yeah,
right?
it's-
yeah.
There's a velocity stack going on some piece of crap old Jap bike. So if you look at the velocity, how it has that curve.
Yeah.
This is kind of crap. It's a conversion to a custom. It's nonsense anyway. But see that nice curved velocity stack look? Yours has that, but it's like nice and rounded.
And
like,
it's bigger.
Oh,
it's a lot wider than that one.
yeah, this is gonna look sick, especially once it's engraved. And we got that because we've upgraded Matt's intake track
This I'm stoked on.
with this piece of sex material. Sex spec.
That is a HBI.
Yep, HBI
Manifold.
intake manifold.
Look at that. I haven't seen it in person yet. It was the Screaming Eagle I had before, or I have still, I should say.
Well, the Screaming
And-
Eagle one was the first one available, so everybody
Yeah,
kind of had
yeah.
it. We were throwing them in everybody's because they were just easy available.
And what is the stock one made out of again?
Just cast aluminum garbage.
Yeah, is it even aluminum though?
It's cast
It was like
aluminum.
okay, I thought it was like a plastic.
It's cast aluminum, which if anybody knows cast, it's made out of powder.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it has like a rough finish. It doesn't withstand well. They crack easy. That's what cast aluminum is. It's powder.
Right.
This little piece of sex is literally billet. Look at this. That's CNC cut. Like I'll give it to HPI. This is a product. And they left a nice amount of rippling inside to accelerate flow. Like this is man. I don't even know. I just want to hang it on my neck. Look around like a rapper.
I'm glad I got to see it before you put it on.
Yeah. Well, you know what would have been cool if there wasn't a time constraint.
Yeah.
We
I
could have
know.
got this done in gold.
I know.
You won't see much of it, but you will still see A bit of
got
it.
a little like.
You'll see enough of
Yeah,
it that
yeah.
I know you will be like, ugh,
Maybe
silver.
it's at some point.
At some point we can always just, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll flog this one off to
Right.
Dan one day, and then you get the same one, but in gold.
Yeah, for real.
They also make this little bad boy in carbon, I'm just saying.
Do
This
they
little
actually?
cover. Oh,
Yeah, how much does that cover?
I don't even remember. I ordered one for Alan's bike.
Oh, did you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I got Alan the Ram tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ordered it all and then said, "Here's your bill. You're paying." He's like, "What did I get?" I'm like, "It's a surprise."
Yeah, that's sick.
So more CNC cut
And-
sex spec.
It looks so good. And this
Parts.
came fast because I ordered it through Fuel Moto. Because normally you got to send in your stock throttle body,
Yeah.
and they take the parts off of that.
Yeah.
So because we were on a bit of a timeline,
Yeah.
we just accelerated. Otherwise, I would have
Yeah.
done that.
The only problem is you pay a premium.
You do.
You pay a premium on the core exchange, and you pay a premium from them versus buying direct. So, you know what, guys, you that are watching, don't try and save $50 or $20 and look around. Buy it from the guys that made it, because those guys put a lot of R&D, a lot of sweat and tears, and a lot of time to developing this product. So when guys are like, I'm not paying $800 for this setup, it's like, you know what? You're not buying this for $800. You're paying for the R&D, the time, the sweat, and the hours it took them to figure out what works and develop this product, right? You're not just paying for the product. So, you know, support your local small business. And that includes HPI and all these other single ownership places, you know? So the reason we went with this bigger intake and this bigger throttle body and bigger open air filter was because we're going with the bigger heads. So it doesn't make sense to have more flow coming in the heads and then choking it down at the intake. Like this, the entire track from entrance to exit will be high flow, right? Motor is a living, breathing thing, right?
Yeah.
It needs to suck in air, pass it through its bowels, spit it out its ass. That's essentially how a motor works. So we're not going to choke it. So we're giving it big intake, big mouth, big neck, through the big core, through the gut. See you later. So,
Man, I can't wait to have this done. I'm glad that we got this set up instead of keeping it the way it was.
and you know what it is too? You want to be unique. And granted, it's not unique in the States because, I mean, they don't play around over there. Everybody tends to spend the money on their bikes. But where we are,
where it's cold half the year, too.
nobody spends money. Not many people spend this kind of money, you know. So you'll be unique. So anyway, here's the gold goodies. I think we went over this in the other video. We showed a bit of it.
Yeah, we showed that.
So, I mean, we're gonna clean up the edges with a blade and clean it up a little nicer and put it on so it all looks nice. So we don't need to go over that again. There's the new mirrors, right?
Yeah.
Which are basically the same as the old mirrors.
Just
Like the song, the new mirrors,
Yeah.
same as the old mirrors. So instead of gold, they're just black.
that's gonna look good too.
And you don't want
With
50
with-
different tints of gold.
I know, with all the
Yeah.
gold that's ending up on the bike, these can for sure be black.
Yeah.
They don't need to be gold.
And here we have just the new cables because we went with that.
Right.
Right. So because we went with that different triple, right?
Yeah. These are from Magnum.
Right. So yeah, because we went with that different triple, Matt ordered directly from Magnum. Matt ordered from Magnum directly an extended front brake line kit. So what this literally is 2 inches longer, and this is their black pearl line. They're just beautiful.
And we decided not to go with gold.
No,
Again, it was just
too many different tones, and you didn't want to.
as nice as it would have been. It was stuff
Yeah,
like this.
yeah.
After we thought about it, this stained black.
Yeah. So these are 2 inches longer, and that's because you changed the triple clamp.
Yeah.
Right. So we changed the triple clamp, which is going to allow you to go up and down. And go in and out and do all sorts of fancy stuff. So your lines are already a little on the short side because we went with different calipers. The different calipers
The radial
with the
mount.
brat, right? They have a different mounting point. So it was already kind of at the end of where we like to see
Yeah.
it. So once we put these lines on and lower the forks, which will raise the bike, we're going to wind up lifting the bike in the air so we can see it at almost full extension. So we can make sure we still have lots of room. And then there's always a little bit more on a heavy bump on the bump stop. So we'll make sure you still have room. So that's why we went with those brake lines. We got a replacement clutch lever just because Matt's clutch lever suffered a little nick.
Yeah.
And I
it's
mean-
starting to fray a little bit. But
Yes,
it's
nothing
worth
that-
changing.
Well, nothing that some tape couldn't hide, but I mean, if you're making an order with Magnum and you're getting the lines, I mean, why not just have the line? Then the other clutch cables, you save it as a backup. Basically, that's what we got going on. I think we can go look at the bike if you want, if there's anything around the bike, because I think I have a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of stuff around the bike.
I think we've got a new upgrade here that we haven't seen since
Yeah?
since we were here last week.
When I walked in here. When did you put this on here, Dan?
That was here the last time you
Was it really?
Not up the video, but when you popped in, it was there.
Was it really?
I just thought I'd save it for all the YouTube boys.
There you go. How long should I leave it on for?
Dude, it stays on.
I just gotta roll.
I had to put it perfectly vertical so the balls were obvious. You know?
So funny.
Dude, they weren't even cheap, but when I saw them one day on like Amazon or eBay, I was like, I'm gonna buy a bag of these and just start putting them on different guys' bikes. Like on my cooler customers, I would just stick one on their bike so they pick it up and there's this little knob on it. It's just, yeah.
That's sick.
I had a buddy, you know, like the Volkswagen Beetles.
Yeah.
I had a buddy. You can get like eyelashes for them.
Yeah.
I had a buddy that would put those on bikes too.
Bikes. Yeah, I put so many. That was my last one.
Was
'Cause I did it last
All right,
year.
I'll keep it on for a while. I'll keep it on. I'll ride out of here with this on.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'll do it. Fuck
And then you take it off and you put it on Pat's bike, right?
Should, yeah.
Pat though will smile, and you guys will catch him stroking it or something. But yeah, man. So there's nothing here. I lied.
Yeah.
I thought there would be stuff here to show you, but there is nothing here that we haven't discussed already. I don't think.
I mean, so much is already in the bike too, right? All that stuff was just to suit the bigger heads.
Yeah, and
Not the big.
literally because I thought you guys might be coming by today.
Yeah.
I actually, at around 3 o'clock, when we were finished one job, I was like, you know what? Let's jump on the Indestructible machine together, me and my head tech, and just get things going. And I forgot that you were getting heads. And I was like, oh, we can put the powder on this. And then he looked at me, Steve was like, what about the heads? I was like, oh, we can't do it today. Because we were just gonna, so when you came by, you'd see the gold on.
Yeah.
Then he reminded me, oh, we're doing heads, and I totally blanked. We got to give this thing a full day.
Yeah.
Of
Oh, for sure. But everything's here now, so.
Well, everything's here now. We're not waiting on nothing, just us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're in the thick of the summer rush, and you know how that goes.
Yeah. Oh, I got the bolts are officially on their way now, so we'll be able to switch these ugly vets to match that too.
Perfect. Yeah.
Little thing.
If all goes according to plan, then by next week it'll be on the dyno. Best days are rain days. When it rains, we don't get drive ups, and the phone doesn't ring as much.
Yeah.
So then we can hammer.
It's raining tomorrow.
And where we go. Never know. We got a cam job on that Indian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then do this.
We had a comment. I'm gonna look at this cam for a second. I know. I just want to see. So we got a comment. Was it on Instagram, Dan?
Yeah, someone on Instagram said that bike is too slow to have Brembo brakes. What do you say about that?
What do you think about that?
Honestly, that's the kind of person that would say that on the internet, not to your face.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's A. And B, why is it too slow to have brakes? For the record, Harley has been using Brembo brakes since, 08? Halfway through 08?
They're just Harley branded.
They're just Harley branded, but they're Brembo. Which is why, although the whole bike is running Imperial Standard, the braking system is metric because it's Brembo. So for those of you that don't know, the Brembo is too much for it already had Brembo. The only difference is now they're radio mount, and they look pretty. And whoever said that can't afford them.
There you go. There you go.
Honestly, why would you not want to put sick shit on your bike?
Yeah.
Dude, are you kidding me? If people didn't want to put nice shit on their bike, there'd be no carbon fiber. There'd be no carbon fiber market. Nobody would give up about carbon fiber. Nobody puts it on to save weight. Half these guys ain't racing.
Yeah.
These guys aren't in the bagger races, driving the Daytona Bike Week with their carbon fiber saddlebags are racing. No, they're not. They paid $4,000 for those bags because they look sick. When I go abroad to tune, just when I get the calls and they like the prices,
Right.
then I go. I've been to Japan, Greece. I've been to so many places tuning. Some guy came in here and was like, whoa, you're famous in India. I said, what? He goes, everybody knows your shop in India. We have lots of bikes in India with your name, Champion Cycle. I said, really? Turbo Z1000s, gone to India. Turbo Busa, gone to India. These guys are like, you're famous over there because all these custom bikes are coming with your name and they love your work. And that's why I came here and was like, oh, okay. I've had guys call me and they pay and I do like remote tuning, which sucks. Japan was like, okay, we have 6 bikes in our race team. We'll fly you out. We'll pay you for the week. Same thing in Greece was like, they were like, oh, we have 10 bikes. Well, they were like, we have 5 bikes. Come out for 4 days, 5 bikes. I got there. They were like, listen, how long can you stay? Because now, you know, these guys knew you were coming. We have 10 bikes.
I got in a motorcycle accident in Greece years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was like 16.
And
And that wasn't too bad. They just went to like a sketchy doctor. I didn't break anything, so I was okay. I was on the back, so I just messed up my knee and shit. My pop broke some ribs and burns and stuff like that, so it wasn't too bad. No helmets or anything. So it's a bit of a sketchy place to be going down.
look, it's a wobbly Pop's garage bike.
Chopper.
Right there. Tell him to take it. I'm like, Diamond, your motor sounds hella noisy. He's like, it always sounds like that. I'm like, it's not normal. He's like, oh, that's how the old girls sound. I'm like, dude, you're an old girl. Fuck, you're nuts.
All right, guys, there you have it. Another episode. Next episode's going to be on the dyno, I think.
Oh, I think actually one part we forgot we don't have yet is the new clutch. We're still waiting to get that in. So that should be here in the next week or so, and then next time is dyno.
Let's go. Follow along. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, ring the bell.